Find the highest common factor of 84, 168 and 252. So what's the highest common factor? A factor is a number that can divide the given number exactly. So highest common factor is, of course, there will be many numbers that can divide all the numbers exactly. So of course you can see 2 is also a factor of all the 3 numbers given. But what we are looking for is the highest number, or the biggest number, or the largest whole number that can divide all the given numbers. In this case 84, 168 and 252. So what are the steps for finding the highest common factor? So first thing we're going to do is to divide the numbers by the common prime number until they can no longer be divided anymore by any common numbers. Okay, and then we're going to take all those numbers that can divide all the common numbers and we can multiply them together to obtain the highest common factor. So just remember one thing: highest common factor, since it is a factor, it's supposed to be smaller than all the 3 numbers given to you. So 84, 168 and 252. So remember, highest common factor will never be bigger than 84 because that's the, at least, that's the smallest value. So highest common factor can never be bigger than 84. So let's write down all the 3 numbers together separated by a comma. So 84, 168 and 252. And we're going to start dividing them by the smallest prime number. And of course, smallest prime number is going to be 2. And straight away you can see 84, the last digit is a 4, 168, the last digit is a 8, and 252, the last digit is a 2, which is all even numbers. And therefore, you know that all the 3 numbers can be divided by 2. So what happens when we divide 84 by 2? We're going to end up getting 42. And 168, if you're going to divide by 2, it's going to give you 84. And 252, if you divide by 2, that's going to be 126. So there we have all the 3 numbers, and we want to see whether this can be further divided by another 2. And of course it should be appearing to you straight away that since all the last digits are even numbers, and henceforth this could be divided by 2 again. So when we take 42 and we divide by 2, we're going to get 21. 84 divided by 2 is going to give you a 48, and 126 if we divide by 2, that should give you a 63. So we are able to find another common factor, another number that can divide all the 3 numbers. So then of course you're not going to try by 2 anymore, because 21 and 63 cannot be divided by 2. Of course the next bigger number, prime number, that you're going to divide or try dividing it is 3. So 2 plus a 1 is a 3. So of course if it is a 3, so that can be divided by 3. So 42 is going to be a sum, is going to become 6. So of course can be divided. 63 can also be divided by 3. And therefore, so we try with a 2 and it's not going to work. So we try with a 3. So of course 3 can divide all the numbers. So 21 if you divide by 3 is going to give you a 7. And 42 if you divide by 3, that will be a 14. And 63 is going to give you 21. And of course from this 7, 41 and 21, we know that it's not going to work with 3 anymore, because 3 cannot divide all the 3 of them. And the next prime number would be a 5. So 3 is not going to work. So then we're going to try 5, and of course 5 is also not going to work, right, because none of them have the last digit as a 0 or a 5. So obviously the next prime number is going to be 7. And since all these numbers are actually small multiples of 7, so we know that 7, if you divide by 7, that's going to give you a 1, and 14 divided by 7 would be a 2, and 21 if you divide by 7, that's going to be a 3. So since we already have 1, 2 and 3, and of course you can no longer find any more common factors, so therefore that's the step at which we're going to stop. So the highest common factor of 84, if you would like to write it in a prime notation, so it's going to be 2 times 2 times 3 times a 7, and if we multiply all of them together, and we're going to end up getting 84. As I mentioned before, you can see that only 84 is the highest common factor, so it can never be bigger than this 84, all right, or any of the numbers. So 84 is the highest common factor, but of course in this case it happens to be highest common factor is actually one of the number itself, but this need not be the case. Okay, so there are times that you will end up getting a number that's smaller than any of the three numbers.